Hi, and welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to review a piece I read that was penned by Henry Chung and Charlotte Gowers, and it was published in Science Alert. In their piece, they set out 5 things that they say are key to slowing aging. Now, over the last 6 years and 7 months, I've been running my longevity experiment, and I've developed 5 pillars of longevity. Their 5 are not the same as mine, so I'll share with you what they say, and then give you my constructive critique. Now, they start by saying that society as a whole is fascinated with health, fitness, and also longevity. They say this obsession has spawned a multi-million-dollar industry that's centered around pushing the latest cutting-edge science, lifestyle modifications, and products that claim to prevent aging and allow you to live as long as possible. But they say this secret to a long life doesn't have to be so complicated. There are many simple things everyone can do to slow down time and help you feel younger. Now, my first comment here is that they're making a broad statement that health, fitness and longevity is nearly always complicated. Now, this is a well-known marketing strategy. Tell people there's a problem and then offer a solution to that problem. But for this to work, there has to be a real problem. They're saying longevity, healthy aging, etc. is complicated and they know how to make it simple. Now, as we go through the video, I shall point out that the answer to health, fitness and longevity is not and need not be always complicated. They say that as we talk about age, we aren't always talking about how many candles there are on your birthday cake. We actually have 2 different ages. Most of you will know this. The first of which is chronological age. This is the number of years that we've been alive. And we also have a biological age. They say this is sometimes referred to as true age or internal body age. This refers to how well our body's internal systems are functioning by looking at signs for aging in our cells, our blood, and also in our DNA. Research indicates that a person's biological age, rather than their chronological age, is related to how long they will actually live. Let's say you looked at 2 people who were 60 years old. The person whose biological age is younger is more likely to outlive the person whose biological age is older. This is not complicated. There are now many ways to measure your biological age with epigenetic testing, which only requires a little bit of saliva or a little bit of blood, and this can all be done in the comfort of your own home. If you're interested in knowing your biological age but don't know how to start, I'll put some links in the description below where you can buy a biological age test, and there's also a discount code too. Now, once you've taken the test and you've sent it away, that sample will then be processed at a laboratory. In simple terms, your DNA is extracted to get the information about what's happening inside your body. Now, the everyday choices we make do affect our biological age. The everyday choices that we make that do affect us are called epigenetics, whereas the genes that we get from our parents that also affect us are called genetics. These everyday lifestyle epigenetic choices that we make do affect our biological age. Now, while some of the decisions we make can increase it, such as smoking, being inactive or having poor nutrition, other factors can actually turn back the clock. So how long we live in good health is quite literally in our own hands. So let's now take a look at Chung and Gowers' 5 things. And number 1, they say you have to run away from aging, literally. Being more physically active and regularly exercising throughout life reduces the risk of death from all causes. This directly increases your longevity, and I'd say it increases your health span too. Health span does not have an official definition, unlike lifespan. What do I mean by this? If you unfortunately die on your 85th birthday, your lifespan was exactly 85 years. In very simple terms, your health span starts to end when you cannot do the everyday things that you want to do when you want to do them. But luckily, it's also never too late to get started. One study found that sedentary people who adopted an 8-week exercise program, which comprised of a 60-minute workout, which was completed only 3 times a week, this reversed their biological age by around 2 years. Another study showed that a mixture of strength and endurance training done 3 or 4 times a week with sessions as short as 23 minutes also showed a significant reduction in aging. And there are links in the description below to these particular studies. So with respect to the first study, there are 10,080 minutes in 1 week. I don't think it would be too difficult to find 180 minutes per week if you really wanted to. Let me know what you think. And I'm also sure it would be very easy for some people to find great reasons why they couldn't find 3 hours a week if they didn't really care about their health, fitness, or their longevity. They say in their piece that exercise influences something called DNA methylation, a process which controls whether certain genes in our body are switched on or are switched off. As we age, it's natural that our genes start switching off, and this is why we get things like wrinkles and grey hair. Exercise helps to slow these processes down, meaning the genes that help us do important functions in the body continue doing their job for much longer. Exercise is my second pillar of longevity. Nutrition is the first. I believe you need a good diet to give you the energy you need to actually exercise. At 2, they say you are what you eat. So we agree with the first 2 aspects. We just disagree on the order. They say making healthier food choices directly reduces your biological age. This effect is even greater in those with chronic diseases and also obesity. This again, I wholeheartedly agree with. One study, which looked at nearly 2,700 women, found that adopting healthier eating patterns for somewhere between 6 and 12 months was a key factor in them staying younger for longer. This diet was also shown to slow aging by an average of 2 to 4 years. They say healthy food choices include eating more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, legumes, fish, lean proteins, and healthy fats, such as oil, and reducing the intake of red meat, saturated fat, and added sugars, as well as sodium. Now, I don't subscribe to the eating less red meat theory. I think any mixture of whole food is going to be okay. It's the eradication of ultra-processed foods I think is key. Now, they say a well-balanced diet provides antioxidants, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that help our cells to repair damage, as well as reducing stress on our DNA. They see these nutrients also affect our DNA methylation. At number 3, they say to improve your sleep habits. Sleep is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging because it affects nearly every single one of our bodily systems. Good quality sleep allows our body to repair DNA, restore hormonal balance, reduce inflammation, and clear cellular waste. This in turn helps the immune, metabolic, and nervous systems to stay youthful and resilient. One review showed that sleep quality is directly associated to how fast we actually age. People who sleep less than 5 hours a night have a significantly increased risk of age-related diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and also dementia. Additionally, a large UK study of nearly 200,000 participants found that those on shift work, particularly night shifts, had a biological age around 1 year higher than their counterparts who worked during normal working hours. Now, I'm fully behind this. Sleep is also my third pillar of longevity. At number 4, they say to avoid unhealthy vices. Here they're talking about habits such as vaping, smoking, and drinking alcohol. They say these are the strongest and most consistent accelerators of aging. Personally, I think alcohol occasionally, in moderation, is less damaging than ultra-processed foods every day. They say that smoking, for instance, is shown to rapidly age the lungs by up to 4.3 years and the airway cells by nearly 5 years. Also, an epidemiological study looking at 8,046 adults who were aged between 30 and 79 found that consuming any amount of alcohol was associated with accelerated biological aging. And the more alcohol consumed, the more the age is accelerated. These habits speed up biological aging because they directly damage DNA, increase inflammation, and overload our cells with stress. This causes the body and organs to work harder, resulting in accelerated aging. Also remember that epidemiological studies cannot prove causation. At 5, they say to master your mind. Stress management, they say, is key. Research has shown that being able to regulate your emotions and manage your stress levels help to reduce age acceleration. Another study found that working more than 40 hours a week on average also increased your biological age. An increase of 2 years, they say, probably down to stress. Now, psychological stress is my 4th pillar of longevity. My 5th pillar of longevity that they didn't mention is targeted supplementation. Now, as we age, no matter how good our diet is, our body finds it more and more difficult to process the nutrients that we need. So, targeted supplementation after a blood test may be needed to keep our essential markers within reference range. And here I'm talking about things like iron, vitamin D, vitamin B12, magnesium, etc. Let me know what you think about their 5 things, and also let me know what you think about my 5 pillars of longevity. Anything that you think should be added to either of those, or anything that you think should be taken away. And remember what I said about biological age testing. If you're looking for a reputable supplier, check out ProHealth Longevity. And if you do buy from them, please feel free to use the code MYNMN at checkout to get 15% off. And there's a link to their biological age testing home test kits in the description below.